Hey guys, it's Libby, and today I'm going to be talking about procrastination due to anxiety. This video was requested of me a little while ago, so I'm finally here to make it. Yeah, let's get started. So some examples of procrastinating due to anxiety would be procrastinating about talking to your boss at work, or maybe making a phone call to schedule a haircut, or maybe putting off writing that paper for school. Basically anything that is causing anxiety in you that you are then putting off, avoiding, trying to just pretend it ain't there. But I think we all know that procrastination is only a temporary relief. Yes, in the moment it works because, you just push it away and you go watch TikTok or whatever it is. But at the same time, it's always looming, isn't it? It's always there, just in the back of your head. And you don't feel good usually because it's there and you want it to be gone, not just temporarily gone. So I've come up with a list of tips on things that might help you overcome this procrastination due to anxiety. My first tip is to recognize the assumptions that you are making. So say you are nervous to go talk to your boss at work because you need help on a project, but she's probably too busy. The assumption you're making is that she's too busy for you and that she's gonna react in a bad way with you interrupting her. So I want you to think about 3 possible outcomes. Number 1, what is the worst possible outcome that could happen? Number 2, what is the best possible outcome that could happen? And then number 3, what is like a realistic outcome of what will probably happen? I will say though that while it's okay to prepare yourself for the possible outcomes, do not let yourself go down the wormhole of what all the terrible things that could happen are. That is not the point of the exercise. The point of the exercise is to help you see the worst, the best, and then the more realistic thing in between. My second tip for you is to recognize the standards that you have for yourself. So for example, say you've got a paper to write for school, but you're just putting it off because you know you're gonna do bad. Number 1, that is an assumption. That is what we just talked about. You are assuming that your hard work isn't good work. You are assuming that you are not capable of great things, and that is not fair to you. But that's not what the focus of this is. This is a focus on standards. So if you label yourself as a perfectionist, and even if you don't, your standards for yourself might be too high. And in the example of writing a paper for school, I'm not saying that you aren't capable of turning in a paper that gets 101% on it. I'm not saying that. You are perfectly capable of that. However, I am saying that you are a complex human being living a very complicated life, and things get in the way. Sometimes you're struggling in math and you just don't understand it, so your grade's not going to be the best. Sometimes your mind is in other places in history class and you just are not absorbing anything. That happens. You are a human being, and of course you should always shoot for the stars and want the best for yourself. I'm not saying that you shouldn't, but at the same time, if you don't get the result you really wanted, just be loving to yourself. Give yourself grace and forgiveness and move on from it. Because if you're able to forgive yourself and give yourself that grace, the anxiety surrounding your expectations for yourself should diminish. My next tip for you is to remember your purpose. So if you have something that you're procrastinating on and it's still in the back of your mind, it's still something that you're gonna do eventually, chances are it's still back there because it's something that's important to you for some reason or another. There is a real purpose behind doing it. Maybe that reason is that you want to graduate high school. Maybe that reason is that you want to form stronger relationships with people. Maybe you want to earn respect, or maybe you want to feel courageous. Whatever it is, remind yourself of what the core value is that is pushing you to want to do it. Remembering what that value is for you might just help you get past that anxiety, because that value to you is more important. It overpowers your anxiety. But moving on to my next tip is to set a plan. Sometimes when we procrastinate, we tell ourselves that we will have the time and the resources and the mental capacity to handle it later. Sometimes though, that is not true. So I recommend that you take a look at your history of procrastination and the outcomes of those things. Do you often convince yourself that it'll work out in the end if you procrastinate, but then in the end you actually screw yourself over? Yeah, I think we've all done that. If that's a pattern for you, then you need to kind of realize like, okay, my anxiety is completely lying to me. It is just being a jerk and it's lying to me, telling me I can do this later when really I can't. So if you can recognize that before it's too late to hit the deadline or whatever, that's awesome. What I recommend you do is to set a time-specific plan and hold yourself accountable to that. Setting a time-bound plan can also really help if you're feeling overwhelmed about how much you have to do. If you have a lot of separate things that you need to get done, or maybe it's just one thing that has a bunch of steps, whatever it may be, if you're overwhelmed by how much needs to be done, it could really benefit you to break it down into manageable pieces and say, okay, at 2 o'clock, I'm doing this. At 4 o'clock, I'm doing that. Or today I'm doing this, tomorrow I'm doing that. Something I tell myself to help hold myself accountable is that if I can't be holding my own self accountable to myself, if I can't be honest to myself, if I can't be making an effort for myself, what do I have left? You know, like, you are the most important person to you, because without you, you wouldn't be here. So give yourself the dedication that you deserve. Oftentimes, people tackle procrastination by breaking things down, like I said in the last step. However, sometimes there's just one step. Like, sometimes all you have to do is call the dentist and tell them you need an appointment. You can't really break that down. So using a relaxation technique can help you prep for, get through, and then recover from this anxiety-producing task. Using relaxation techniques can make even objectively small tasks more manageable. The last thing I have to say is that when you take a step towards getting through this procrastination due to anxiety, or if you like overcome it with something, reward yourself. You freaking deserve it, man. You push yourself and you deserve to love yourself for it. So whether you are rewarding yourself with like a little slice of cake, or like a manicure, or whatever, like just a pat on the back, doesn't matter. You deserve to acknowledge your accomplishment because it is wonderful. Yeah, so that got a little cheesy at the end, sorry about that, but those are my tips for getting through anxiety related procrastination. If you guys have any additional tips, I would absolutely love to hear them down in the comments. Please leave them. And also, if you have any requests for upcoming videos, feel free to leave those down below in the comments. I do read them and keep note of them. Like I said, today's video is a request. Yes, it's kind of an old request, but I got around to it. So yeah, I hope that y'all enjoy your lives, your days, and power to destroying procrastination. Am I right? All right. Bye, guys.